everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. Let's get into this. All right, we're going to talk about something a little different. I had someone try to get in a conversation with me in my comments, and they made this statement that, GMOs, out of a whole list of foods they thought people shouldn't be eating, and then of course they gave a list of foods they thought people should be eating to lose weight or to be healthy, and GMOs was on the list of stuff they listed. And sorry guys, this is 2024. The whole anti-GMO thing has died out. Okay, that was a fad. Yes, there were countries that had laws on it in Europe, but those have been largely dropping. The research has kind of largely shown, look, the GMOs that we have appear to be pretty much safe. They're necessary to get the amount of foods that people need to even sustain the population. So let's set that aside. Let's look at that and say, yeah, we know that if all GMO foods went away, billions of people would starve to death. Like that is not even debated anymore. But let's set that to the side, because people say, well, we could still make poor people eat them. So how about people who are a little more affluent who have the option? Well, when you look at that, it still doesn't appear to be an issue. And what I would say to people who make this statement, let's step back, and when you say GMO, you need to understand that is in a broad category. That is not a specific thing. So if you say GMOs are bad, well, obviously they can't all be bad. That doesn't even make sense. You're telling me that every possible genetic modification, just like any possible mutation to the foods you're eating, is bad? Okay, that doesn't make sense. Because if that happened, then everything that we eat would be poisonous and deadly to us, because there would be normal massive mutations that happen all the time in foods that you ate, right? Even stuff that you're getting right now from there, you're going to get a few mutations here and there that just occurred that made massive changes to that organism. That's just the nature of things. So every change can't automatically be bad. So when I have someone who says, well, GMOs are bad, my response is always, look, if you're going to say that, then let's discuss it logically and present your evidence in your case. So you can't just make that statement. So I want you to pick one. So instead of just saying the whole category, find the GMO that you are most concerned with, which is the one that really, really has you upset, right? Because they can't all be the same. So is there a specific food that is genetically modified commonly? Okay, bananas or corn. All right, so I want you to take that food that you're worried about, and I want you to tell me which gene has been modified. It's a genetically modified organism. Which gene has been modified? Give me the number of that gene, and then tell me what mechanism the harm is going to be caused by. So if you're going to make the statement that something is bad, right, it's just bad, then you need to present a case for it. So you need to tell me on the banana, the bananas are oftentimes genetically modified, and it's the 12-13-62B5-7 gene to where they flipped this one codon over here. And the mechanism by which it harms you is it creates a protein. It creates a protein that puts stress on your liver. And it does this because it creates hepatotoxicity over here through this pathway. And that protein is puts strain on the liver, similar to the way alcohol does, right? That's what I mean. Like, that is what you need to be able to say if you're going to say that they're bad. Because otherwise you're making a massive hysterical statement based upon nothing other than the fact that scientists have done something to it. Well, here's the problem with saying humans have done something to it, or it's not natural. None of the foods you eat are natural. So you have to discuss the mechanism of harm. Most of the superfoods that we get, things that we think of as superfoods that have enormous vitamin and mineral densities, they don't occur in nature. Broccoli. I mean, broccoli is a perfect example. So people will say, oh, I eat natural foods. Well, you say you eat broccoli, right? Okay. You eat Angus beef. You eat grass-fed Angus beef and broccoli are staples in your diet. You know neither one of those things occurred in nature, right? They're not natural. These are selectively bred species that humans have made. Before you were born, broccoli's not an actual food found in nature. It comes from a little flowery plant that we have selectively bred to make this highly nutritious vegetable. And several other plants came out of that same species. I think Brussels sprouts are also part of the same species. But we think of these as extremely healthy foods because they are. They're man-made. We selectively bred them for generations to create this food with a completely different look and a completely different nutrition profile to anything found in nature. That Angus cattle is a domesticated breed that we have selectively bred to grow faster, to be bigger, to have more meat, be hardier in cold climates. The meat content on that is not natural. The cattle in nature, wild cattle, do not have the sort of muscle growth content that animal has. We bred it for that. And the same thing, even if it's grass-fed and grew in a field, that is not natural. Wild game does not have nearly as much fat on it as even grass-fed cattle does. Now, I'm not even getting into the grain feeding to where we fatten them up. They're leaner animals. They're smaller, leaner, totally different, totally different. You're not eating natural stuff already. It's all man-made. It's man-made. And so if you're going to take that position that if humans have messed with it, then they say, well, I'm scared because I don't know what they did to it. Well, go research it. The people who are doing this stuff are scientists who are not doing this to harm people. They're doing it to help feed the world, to be able to give people enough nutrition to survive around the world, to help deal with famines and poverty and starvation. Like a lot of the GMO foods are the same things we've selectively bred for. We're selectively breeding them to be hardier, to have a higher nutrition profile, to grow faster, right? So that we can get higher quality food to people with more vitamins and minerals in it for less work and less money and less field space, less pesticides, less insecticides, all these things. That is what they are doing. So to jump up and make this statement, so I would say to people, you can't just say all GMOs. You need to be specific, because if every GMO is a completely different thing, they've completely modified a different gene through a different pathway for a different reason. Keep in mind, these billions of genes have happened with mutations or selective breeding anyways. They're changing all the time. Then you need to specify the one. You don't just go GMOs. No, you need to specify which gene on the banana you have a problem with and explain your concerns. Otherwise, you just sound ignorant. And the thing is, the whole anti-GMO thing has died out. It has died down because it's turned out that all the fears and most of this haven't come true. And most of even the websites and the groups that were anti-GMO have moved on to completely other conspiracies at this point, because they realize they're not making the market on the hysteria from it. No one's really listening anymore, so they've jumped over to other stuff, like different sort of vaccines and things. That's what most of their concerns are at this point, and that's what the data is showing. This is not even something that people are really actively against anymore. That was a phase, and even countries that held those positions in Europe and stuff have started reversing their laws and saying, okay, yeah, it turns out not really evidence for this. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.